What's up? What's up? What's up? Let me know if y'all can hear me, man. Big Mo, what's up? Y'all can hear me? All right, man. All right. This time, is there a picture or is it still pitch black? If it's pitch black, fuck it. I'm just going this time. I ain't got time for all that, man. All right, man. So, my first live episode, man. Still dark? Is it still dark, y'all? Fuck it.
Heavyweight boxing fans, what's to do?
Fuck it, man. Fuck it.
Heavyweight boxing fans, what's to do?
Fuck it, man. Fuck it. Just making sure I can hear it in the background. All right, man. So I got a chance to catch Junior Fa over the weekend. He blasted out Fred Latham. He beat him down, man. It was a 67-second fight. That's pretty much exactly what you want a heavyweight to look like when he's making his, I won't say it's necessarily his USA debut, but I believe it's his first time on Showbox. But Fa went in there, did exactly what he needed to do. So he looked good in that fight, man. He looked good in that fight. Jarrell Miller, I think he needed to do what he had to do in that fight. Yeah, I'm on my phone, Dan, but if it's oh, okay. Maybe I need to, when I get off this, man, I'll try to figure all that out, man. But when you guys come to the video, can you see a thumbnail on that? Like when you see that I'm live and you know, can you see something on that? On my other phone, I can see my faces on there. Yeah, all right. Well, anyways, man, Jarrell Miller, he did what he had to do. Now he didn't go in there. He didn't blow out Marius Wach. Marius Wach is a very tough guy to go in there and look good against. You know, Vladimir Klitschko. Povetkin got the stoppage, but it was on cuts. You know, so I wasn't surprised that Miller didn't look spectacular. You know what I'm saying? But he definitely went in there, did what he had to do. And once he put, you know, once the fight turned into a battle of, you know, physicality, I knew Miller would take over. And I believe Wach hurt his hand on Miller. So I knew once the fight took that type of turn where it got physical and they started bumping bodies and all that, I knew that Miller would succeed in that department, man. But his high work rate got him through in that fight. And I predicted a stoppage, but I thought it'd be more cleaner than that. I thought he'll stop Wach to the body. But he definitely did what he had to do, man. It wasn't, again, it wasn't a great performance, but you know how it is in boxing, man. Win this time and look great and look good in your next fight. So he got the win over Marius Wach. I would still love to see him and Dillian Whyte. See, they're both, Whyte and Hearn still together, right? That fight should be good to go. You know, but right now I'm thinking Miller signed with Hearn to get himself the AJ fight. You know, and we'll see what Hearn can do for him. I know that Ortiz signed with Hearn, and all he got was Dave Allen and Malik Scott. You know what I mean? But yes, sir. What's up for non-international boxing? What's up to all y'all, man? Everybody in here, man. Dan the man. All you guys, man. Shout out to all you guys tuning in. I really ain't got nothing to even talk about, man. I just press the live button and see how this thing go. But I can go off the top with heavyweights, man. So if you guys got any questions about prospects or fights, just leave it in the comment section right here, man, in this chat room right here. And yes, I have been keeping up on all the news with Wilder and AJ. It's getting kind of boring, you know, especially when it's just a whole bunch of arguing amongst the fans about if the fight should happen or if it shouldn't happen or how much this guy is worth and he's asking for too much. Look, man, I'm not here to judge any fighter about what they think they're worth. So my thing is just as long as their teams can get in there, P Money, what's popping, man? As long as their teams can get in there and try to figure out and negotiate, you know, and make it right, then the fight should happen. Charles Martin, I seen Charles Martin on the, I believe it was the Boxing Voice. And he was saying he's fighting Brazil. So I'm not sure how accurate that news is. If anything, I think that Now, yes, I did just say Miller should fight Whyte, but if that doesn't happen, I think Whyte and Brazil should be the fight to determine who's the mandatory for the WBC. Yes, I have seen the new rankings with Dillian Whyte at number 1. He is number 1, but that doesn't technically mean that he's the mandatory. At least I haven't seen anything saying he's the mandatory, but I know he's number 1. And I know that his fight with Molina and Brazil's fight with Molina and Whyte's fight with Helenius, they were WBC eliminator fights. But I think they should fight, to tell you the truth, man. Brazil and Whyte. I mean, Whyte would make an interesting fight against Brazil, against Miller, Ruiz Jr., Jennings. I mean, shit, any of them. St. Cruzan was good, man. Yeah, he says it wasn't a mandatory. Nelson Taylor, what's up, man? After Wilder's dramatic win against Laverne, how do you think Wilder will fare against Anthony Joshua? Good fight, because one thing that I notice about AJ, and I know a lot of AJ fans, he has no flaws. Quit talking about his flaws, right? Everybody got flaws, man. But one thing I've seen with him is these comments coming fast. But dealing with movement. Takam was able to move. Now, Takam's a different target than Wilder, but he was moving. And that's what Wilder will do. He'll get in there and move from the waist up. He'll move his head and kind of peek in and peek back out and go to the side and peck away with the jet. That type of stuff. It may not seem effective, like, oh, well, he isn't doing anything. But if you're trying to hit that target, it's hard to hit a moving target, especially when you got big tree trunk arms like Anthony Joshua. He may tire himself out trying to hit Wilder pinpoint, right on the chin. So I think that will give AJ some problems. And also the jab. A good jab would give anybody problems, man. If it's, if Wilder can get the timing of his jab, he showed a snapping jab against Stavern. Now, some people may argue that, yeah, but Stavern was a easy target to hit. That's fair enough. He was just putting up the high guard. Pretty much, as he said, eating his punches like Eminem, right? So he was eating a lot of jabs, and then he choked on that right hand. But and then on the flip side, looking at Wilder, is how will he be able to deal with Anthony Joshua up close? And a lot of people, I'm seeing a lot of fans have their opinion about, well, AJ is a better inside fighter. Now, inside and mid-range is two different things, in my opinion. Bo was more of an inside fighter. Frazier, Tyson, that was more inside, shoulder to shoulder in the trenches, fighting like that. AJ, to me, is more of just a close range type of guy, not necessarily putting his weight on you, but just at a mid-range, throw hooks and uppercuts. To me, that's when AJ's at his best, is when he's throwing the hooks and the uppercuts. Although when guys are 6'6" like that, I would love to see them use their jabs. But AJ seems more like he wants to get mid-range and fight with you from there. So if he can get Wilder in that type of position, where Wilder, let's say Wilder's having the same type of fight he had with Dubois, with AJ, interesting fight, yo. And I think AJ will have the advantage right there. But long range, throwing straight punches, and I know people get on Wilder for windmills and all that, but he's still at a far range. You know what I mean? He's still at a distance. So when he's throwing those punches, they're coming pretty fast, man. And I think he may, I don't know, I may give Wilder the advantage on the outside and give Joshua the advantage mid-range. And another thing, I heard Virgil Hunter bring this up, man. I thought it was a good point, is he was saying that, although AJ is heavily muscle, he's a big guy. So when you look at him and Wilder, you just think, oh, he's going to bully him. But AJ doesn't really fight like that. He's not really using his physicality in there trying to push you and muscle you around. He just has muscle. You guys get what I'm saying? And I think he was able to stymie Vladimir a little bit when Vladimir was trying to hold. AJ started just let his hands go. You know what I mean? Blood boxing, what's good, man? Wilder's defense is too weak. AJ is going to defend against Wilder's power shots, while Wilder won't keep his guard up against AJ's power shots. His defense is weak based on what? I mean, yeah, he fights with his hands down, but if you've seen guys, and I'm not saying he's these guys, but as far as the way they fought, Holmes fought with his hands down. Ali fought with his hands down. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's weak. And just because you have your guard up and tight, and, next to your chin and that perfect textbook style they teach you, your first day of being in boxing class, you're still leaving your body open. You can still get hit in between the guards, right down the middle through the guards. So that's not necessarily going to save you. To me, adapt to what style is best for you. Some guys can fight with their hands down a little bit. Some guys need their guard right up to their chin and, you know, fight like that. So Red Fox was good, man. UFC, MMA, boxing news. What's up? He says Wilder has a great jab and will knock AJ out. It's possible, man. It's possible. My man Faraz, what's the deal? Rainy Young Boss says, what do you think of Parker? I think people overlook him, and I understand why. Because whenever we're talking about the big fight, we always just leave Parker out. And I think it's due to how he looked in his last few fights. Takam and Ruiz, I thought those were tough fights going into the fight. So I wasn't expecting him to go knock those guys out. I thought all of those were 50-50 in my prediction videos, the Takam and the Ruiz, based on styles. So, but guys like AJ, Wilder, they're not, I know a lot of people say that, you know, the Takam was premature stoppage. I thought it was too, but just based on their performances versus Parker's, I understand why people kind of leave him out. But I think Parker is definitely a player. I think he has experience that people are overlooking. He fought in the World Series of Boxing, good amateur experience. I think he has fast hands. I think he's an underrated combination puncher. Do I think he beats AJ and Wilder? I would definitely favor Wilder and AJ over him, but I definitely think people are underestimating Joseph Parker, in my opinion. Damn, okay, these comments coming fast. I'm trying to... Hey, when y'all come in here, man, make sure y'all giving me a Deontay Wilder right hand, Anthony Joshua uppercut to that like button, man. Smash the hell out that thing. Archie Ball says, I don't like the way Wilder backs up with his arms raised. Yeah, he did that in the Spilka fight where he was just leaping back with his head up in the air, arms out, leaping back. He's been able to get away with it. And that's what I was saying. Maybe somebody like Joshua can possibly catch him with straight punches as he's leaping back like that. That's definitely one thing. You know, that's one of his flaws. All these guys got flaws. So that's definitely one of them. I think somebody trying to go to Wilder's body, if they can get past the jab right hand and effectively get in his chest and try to rough him up, I think possibly going to his body can possibly slow him down. That's one thing that I think Jarrell Miller, if his chin can hold up, man, if Miller's chin can hold up with his style of fighting, it's going to be interesting when guys fight him because he is a committed body puncher. He throws a lot of filler shots in there when he's kind of in close and he's, you know, bobbing and weaving and he's throwing awkward right hands and left hands. Sometimes he's like in a southpaw position when he's throwing because he's just literally coming forward, throwing shots. He wants to get that high work rate up there. And that could be a problem, especially at the heavyweight division. And for him to be a big guy like that and could fight at that type of pace, I think it's impressive. Just reading y'all's comments, man. Let me see. Daniel Dubois, the Dan 1000 says, Daniel Dubois versus Junior Fa. What would you make of that fight? Ooh, man. Junior Fa is a guy, man. Although he just blew out Latham in 67 seconds, and he has a few fights like that where he's just running through guys. Fa's actually very nimble on his feet. I know you haven't got a chance to see it, but if you go back and watch the World Series of Boxing fights, he's nimble on his feet for a big guy. He can use his jab and move. So I think he'll give Dubois different looks. Dubois is very young, very powerful. He looks like he's about damn near 28 years old, man. That is a big dude, man, for his age. Again, though, with him, once he gets hit on that chin real good, or once he gets a jab stuffed in his face, or just once things aren't downhill for him, how will he react in those type of situations? I haven't seen him in those type of situations, not even his amateur fights. Maybe you guys can link me some amateur fights of his where he went through some adversity. A guy like Fa, I've seen him go through some adversity. Now, I know this is the pro game. It's a little bit different. But, man, right now, I think it's a toss-up based on what I think Dubois can become and what I see from Fa right now. I think it's a toss-up fight right now today. As of, what's today? November the 12th, 2017. I think it's a toss-up right now. 2-3 years from now, it may be Dubois in a landslide. But right now, I definitely like Fa, and I think he has more dimensions to his game than Dubois has right now. But Dubois is still young. He's only 20. You know what I mean? Only got, 5 fights? Although I do see comments of some people saying Dubois can beat this guy and that guy and that. I'm not, I think Joyce is in a better position to beat some of those guys right now than Dubois is. That's just my opinion. There's an amateur fight on YouTube, but Dubois, it went the distance with it being very close. Okay, School Bay, I'll check that out, man. Truth Holder says, what do you think of Russian Pacheco? Oh, I've did some videos on him. Powerful. He looks powerful, against the opposition that I've seen. I've seen clips of him working out. Looks like he has heavy hands, pretty fast. Want to see more of them. A lot of these guys look like that, where they look dynamite in their fights against the competition they're fighting. Just want to see these guys step up and start to get those guys like Jamal Woods and Avery Gibson and those type of journeymen under their belt so I can get a better feel for what they have. I won't mind seeing when these guys step up and fight, what's my man's name that he just beat Christoph Zimnock, and he beat a 19-0 prospect, John Wesley No Fire. What's my man's name? He got knocked out by Oscar Rivas, though. Oh, shit. What's the dude's name, man? Damn, I forgot that dude's name. Trey Lippy Morrison. Morrison's been out with some injuries, man. I know he got, he hurt his hand, and he got a nasty cut. I did a video about it, posted the picture. Got a nasty cut in training. Can I get some juice, y'all? Let me sip this cranberry juice. I know y'all like, man, hurry up and drink your damn juice. We ain't come here to listen to you drink juice. But yeah, man, I definitely like these prospects, though, man. Jeremiah Karpinski. Nah, I'm trying to think of that guy who I would like to see one of these prospect fights. Joey Abel, that's who. He's very dangerous, man. They tried to put John Wesley No Fire, who was a PBC fighter. He was 19-0 at the time. That was an entertaining fight. But Joey Abel, man, bloodied him up, got him up out of there. Slow-mo mixing and mastering asks, who would you put Huey Fury in with for his next fight or two? I like the fight that was being discussed after the fight with Parker, and that's the fight with Lucas Brown. I know Lucas Brown and Parker are supposed to be trying to get a fight made. I think that fight for the New Zealand, Australia area would be good. 2 undefeated guys. Funny, though, because when Lucas Brown won his title against Chagaya, when he won that regular strap, and Parker and his team called him out straight away, and Lucas Brown was on his high horse, man, saying he needs to earn it and what has he done, and he needs to do all this shit. So it's kind of funny how the roles get reversed, and now it's Brown, the one that's, trying to push for a fight. But I would like to see Huey Fury fight Lucas Brown and see how Huey Fury would deal with the pressure from Lucas Brown. Will he fight differently than he did against Parker? Because, man, Huey Fury in that fight, he has the skill set to beat a lot of guys. I think he has the skill set to beat Parker, but he wasn't sitting down on no punches. I know he likes to mimic his style after Ali and Larry Holmes, and that's, fair enough. But one thing about those guys, man, I know people like to use the phrase boxer punchers. I like to use the phrase boxer fighters. Guys who would say, you know what, me moving around isn't really helping. Let me just stand flat-footed and trade. You know what I mean? Let me put these 5s and 6s together, 5-6 punch combinations to get you the hell up off me. And I didn't see that. I didn't see it from Huey in that fight. Alexander Usanov versus Manuel Char coming next month. Man, that's a tough one to pick, man. Both guys been kind of inactive. I know Usanov was just in the ring not too long ago. I think during the summer when he came back. I really wanted to see him fight Luis Ortiz last year, but he never, according to Ortiz and his team, he didn't want to take Vada. That was according to Ortiz and his team. So But Char, I mean, I would favor Ustinov in the fight. But you may see Char try to walk Ustinov down, man. But Ustinov is a big dude. St. Cruiser says, what heavyweight fight do you want to see? Besides Wilder and Joshua. Man, there's a lot of them, bro. There's a lot of them, man. Miller versus Whyte. Jennings versus Miller. Brazil versus Whyte or Miller. Parker versus Whyte. Parker versus Wilder or Joshua. You can pretty much take the top 40 and just mix and match. You know what I mean? The guys that are 1 through 20, I would like to see those guys get it on with each other. And then the back half of that top 40, I'd like to see those guys just mix and match them, man. But I have to say Whyte versus Miller just due to the fact that it'd be a significant fight. And I think the banner between both of them would be excellent. And then I think when they get in there, man, style-wise, I think it's a good mesh. Style-wise. Danny Tanner. He says, I hear the WBC will reinstate Povetkin in rankings next year. He could be ranked at the top of several sanctioning bodies. Yeah, right now he's in a position where if he beats Christian Hammer, what I heard, maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong if more news came out, but from what I've seen, he will be, him and Hammer, the winner of that fight, will be the mandatory for the WBO. And I know a lot of people that come to my channel and they say, Mr. Boxing, why are you promoting this guy? You shouldn't be making videos about him, but that's fair enough, man. But the thing is, we can sit here and not want the vid or think he should be suspended, but he's in the rankings and he's back in the rankings and he's getting these fights, man. So unless he does something to take himself out of the rankings, this is what we got. Rainy Young Boss says, what's your top 5 heavyweights right now, no order? Ooh, are we putting Tyson Fury in there? I guess I shouldn't take Fury serious, man, until I see he's lost some weight. I know he said he's coming back, but he said this shit like a year ago. And I got all excited, like, yeah, Fury's coming back. Then he disappeared. You know what I mean? Then he popped back up on Instagram again 7 months later. So, okay, I'll put Fury in and then I'll take him out. But the top 5, no order right now. With Fury, I'll say AJ, Wilder, Fury, Povetkin, Ortiz. If I take out... Hold on. Yeah, if I take out... shit. If I take Fury, I got to put Parker in there. Maybe I'll put Parker in the first group, too, and take out... That's tough, man, because you got to look at the resumes, but then I also look at what I think they'll do head-to-head. But something like that, man. That's like my top 5 or 6. See a question here. Who do you think would make a good comeback fight for Israel Gono? It depends what they're trying to do with him. If they're trying to just build him back, fight some mid, I'm not going to say complete washed up journeymans, but like a Joey Abel, somebody like that. Dangerous fight, but it's also a fight where he'll be tested, and I think he'll get credit for the win, being that Abel just beat Krzysztof Zimnak over out there in Poland. And he beat, what's my man's name? John Wesley No Fire, who was 19-0 when he beat him. I think he'll get a lot of props for that. Maybe you're going to, I'm not sure, Chris. I heard something about Chris Arreola and Andrew Reese Jr. going back and forth social media. I think that'd be a good comeback fight for him. Travis Kaufman would be a good comeback fight for him. Somebody like that. But if they're trying to just rebuild him, then they can put him in there with some journeyman level guys, let him get his confidence back. He fought a good fight, man. Brazil is just, that dude's a tough son of a bitch, man. That dude can take punishment. That dude got like a damn football helmet in there when he's when he's in there fighting. He can be hurt. Now, I'm not saying you can't hurt the guy, but Brazil's a tough dude, man. Fanon International Boxing says, too much money floating. Fury will be in there. Yeah, eventually, man, I think he'll come back. I do. I think him and AJ, that's a huge fight domestically over there in the UK. I'm not going to front. And I do think if it's a fit, in shape Tyson Fury, Fury is a definite top 5 type of fighter, So I think the fight would make sense. I would like to see Fury fight Deontay Wilder first, to tell you the truth, being that they were on a collision course from the start. Before AJ won his title, when Fury jumped in the ring after Wilder, as I say, put Spilka into a mild coma, they jumped in the ring. That was a good promo. You know, I grew up on AWA wrestling and Mid-South wrestling back in the 80s. So I like good promos, man. I thought that was an excellent promo to promote a fight between the two. It looked like they were on a collision course, and then we know what happened with the rematch popped up with Klitschko, and then Fury hasn't been, I don't think he's been in a boxing ring since. Well, I think he was in a ring with Huey Fury a time or two, but he disappeared. Mr. In-Game Boxing, what's up, man? He says, I think Wilder's reach advantage and jab over AJ will be deciding factor. Plus, Joshua's too stiff and upright, like Frank Bruno. Wilder puts AJ to sleep in the 8th round. It's possible. It's possible, man. That shit is possible. That's why I want to see it, bro. That's why I want to see the fight, see how all this pans out. I can see that happening. I can see AJ putting together and AJ, he doesn't get enough credit in my opinion for he throws combinations. And these new wave of heavyweights, these bigger 6'7", 6'8" guys, they just want to probe with the jab, try to find the right hand. You know, then vice versa if they're southpaw. But that's the type of style they've been fighting in, kind of trying to mimic the Klitschko brothers, which they mastered the style. Not that they're the first heavyweights to have the jab right hand combination. You know, obviously Ali and Holmes and guys like that. But Joshua does throw good combinations up close, man. But boxing, hell yeah, man. South wrestling with the bomb. Hell yeah, man. I grew up in the AWA territory, man. Up there in Minneapolis. So Ric Flair and Kurt Hennig and Hulk Hogan, all those guys, man. So I love me some good promos. Dusty Rhodes was one of the best at promos. Let me not turn this into a damn wrestling live stream. Dwyer says Parker will unify. Shout out to Dwyer. Dwyer says, I like Dwyer, man. I've been listening to Dwyer for damn near 10 years now, man. Yeah, I don't agree with Dwyer all the time, but I like his insight, and I like the fact that Dwyer has appreciation for the history of the sport, man. I love conversing with boxing fans who have an appreciation for the history. It's kind of weird listening to other fans when they use the word ever. Whenever you use the word ever, like he's the hardest puncher ever or he's the best ever, but your knowledge only goes from 2010 till now, you really shouldn't be. Now, if you want to say the best you've ever seen, that's one thing. But when guys just use that loosely, man, it makes me scratch my head. But Dwyer is definitely one of the guys who I appreciate listening to because he has the appreciation for the history, man. Archie Ball says AJ's gas tank is fucking terrible. Well, we've seen that it can run low. We definitely seen that in the Klitschko fight. One thing about AJ I give him props for is he got up, man, dusted himself off. Because when that happened, I remember watching that shit. Well, we all watched it. But when I seen that, I'm like, damn, what is he going to do now? Because he got up. The way he got up, man, it was kind of lumbering. It almost looked like AJ was thinking to himself, like, shit, well, let's get up off the floor and see what we can do. That's like the look he had on his face. It wasn't like he just jumped up and, it was like the ref was counting and he got up, man, and, did what he had to do. But he definitely showed that he can tire a little bit. And when Takam was moving and giving him different looks and making him follow him a little bit and AJ was missing some punches, you definitely seen AJ kind of breathe a little bit and say, okay, let me reset. But what happens when he's in there with somebody that's not going to let him reset? Somebody's going to jump on top of him, sees when he's gassing out a little bit, and they jump on top of him. They don't give him a chance to get his second win. Klitschko gave him the opportunity to get his second win because Klitschko, in my opinion, it wasn't so much that Klitschko didn't jump on him. It's just that Klitschko was trying to time him with left hooks and right hands. He went away from the jab. He started just looking for big shots. He started to get predictable. He started leaping in with left hooks. AJ just ducked. That's all he did was just duck. And when AJ was ducking, his face was looking right at the canvas. And I was like, damn, why don't Klitschko throw an uppercut? Or feint with the jab, or just throw the jab, make Joshua duck right down into an uppercut. He just kept going with the left hook. But the thing about it is I understand why he was doing it, because during that fight, look how many lead left hooks Klitschko was landing on Joshua. But then Joshua started to say, okay, well, I'm getting hit with a left hook. Let me fucking duck. You know what I mean? I thought Klitschko should have went to the uppercut, man. Faraz says, for AJ's own sake, that dude needs to. Let me see. Is that how I pronounce it? Clint Suafanu? I always see you in the comment section, bro. But I hope that's how I pronounce it. He says, who do you rate Big Baby against the top tier guys after last night's performance? Well, last night's performance, man, like I said, it's not going to make you like, wow, did you see that? You know what I mean? But it's just, he did what he had to do. Whyte isn't somebody that a lot of guys look against. He's a big dude that's hard to get out of there. And if you don't have that type of one-punch knockout power like that, well, shit, Povetkin and Klitschko have good power, too. He's just a tough dude to look good against. But I can see a lot of heavyweights saying, oh, give me Miller. I can take him. You know what I mean? But styles make fights. So although Whyte was able to handle some of the physicality in there, that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody else will be able to. Doing Life Productions, what's up, man? For AJ's own sake, he needs to lose at least 10 to 15 pounds, go work out in Nigeria bushes, and eat Nigerian food to bump up his cardio. Yeah, man, even before he won a title, one of the critiques I had about AJ, and I know we can say, well, he's a unified champion. What do I know? You're probably correct. But I thought just the muscle mass is just, it looks like it's too much. I know a lot of people say, well, look at Klitschko. But for me, and I know during that fight, I think, did Klitschko outweigh AJ in that fight? But either way, though, man, AJ's muscle mass just looks ridiculous. Klitschko, his overall skill set a little bit more polished. Although he was a muscle guy, a little bit more polished in my opinion. His footwork a little bit better, his head movement, just the style Klitschko fights in a little bit more polished to me than Joshua. So, and I don't think his muscle mass hurt him. A guy like Mike Tyson, he's a compact type of guy, smaller, wants to get up underneath you and, you know, rain combinations on the inside. That's why I say I think AJ has the build of an inside fighter or a guy that wants to get close than he does a 6'6" rangy type of guy. V4AR says, why does James Tony, I'm thinking you're saying Tony, he says Tones, talk so much trash about the Klitschkos? That's lights out. James Tony always talking shit, man. When does James Tony not talk shit? That's just JT, man. Rainy Young Boss says, did you see Rob Brant last fight? Yeah, man, I was pulling for Rob. You guys know I've sparred Rob before. Was pulling for him, you know, but he couldn't get it done. I'm not going to say nothing bad about Rob, man. His next fight, I'm going to pull for him in that one, too. So, yes, I'm biased towards Rob, but just needs more experience, in my opinion. He just needs some more experience, man. Probably need to move down in weight. I think he said he might go to middleweight, but just needs some more experience. But Bramer definitely did what he had to do and picked up the victory. Faraz says, shit, even Layla said the same thing. He needs to cut back on the muscle. She referenced her dad as an example. Said he needs to go back to old school training, not all this fancy stuff he does now. Man, I've been saying that, you know what I mean? And a lot of fans will say shit like, well, guys are getting bigger, faster, and stronger. The training methods are better. It's like better according to who? Bag work, road work, good old sparring. You know what I mean? Now, I know these guys, they want to get into cross training, and I think cross training is cool, you know, but just heavy lifting. And some people try to convince me AJ doesn't lift weights. It's like, do you think this dude gonna get that big and muscular without lifting weights? Come on, man. It's one thing to get cut up. Like I heard Roy Jones say, Now, I'm not sure how true this is, but this is what he said. Coming up for him, the reason he was so cut was just old school boxing training. Push-ups, sit-ups, squats, roll work, hitting the bag. That's how he got cut like that. You know what I mean? But going in there and, give me 345s on each side and all that type of shit, man, I guess, man, if it works for AJ, do what you do, man. But weights, I definitely don't see how that's going to work. Now, I've seen guys in gyms where they'll have the bar, a naked bar, and they'll probably put tens, like literally tens on the side and just max out on that. But not, give me 345s and a spotter and all that type of shit. I don't see how that's going to help you. Hey, Nar, what's up, man? He says AJ has not lost yet. His size is working so far. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just a guy on YouTube, but I'm just looking at guys like Larry Holmes and Ali. Now, I know you can say the training's different, and that's fair enough, but I just think natural boxing exercise, to me, the best workout is sparring. If I'm training a fighter, we're going to spar a lot and road work. Some guys may want to protect their knees and shins and all that, depending on what they're running on. At least some treadmill or maybe riding the bike, getting in the ring and just doing a lot of foot movement, footwork. As you guys see, Emmanuel Stewart, he did this with Vladimir to get Vladimir from stop being so stiff. I think AJ needs to probably implement this. And that's going in there and dancing, like literally dancing in the ring to James Brown and Michael Jackson, just moving around, following the beat, following the rhythm, in and out, side to side, that type of stuff. That gets you not being stiff instead of, in my opinion, chasing a tennis ball or, all these things that these strength and conditioning coaches do, which it may work for fighters. But for me, if I'm looking after a guy, we're doing more natural type of stuff. But then again, like I say, man, I'm just somebody on YouTube, right? So if it's working for him, hey, keep doing what you're doing. Danny Tanner says, what we got, Mansour versus Kuzman. That's a good fight, man. Mansour versus Kuzman, they definitely won't have to get in the ring and look for each other. I know that for sure. Definitely interesting style matchup. Kuzman is a taller, but more of a come forward type of guy. And Amir Mansour does not get enough credit, in my opinion. I know people look at his age, but to me, he's a different 45-year-old, man. He had a stretch of, 8 or 9 years where he wasn't boxing. But one thing about him, and this is what I was saying about natural workouts. When I go to his Facebook, this dude is literally on Facebook doing a Facebook Live running for 45 minutes straight. He has good conditioning, good lungs, good legs. And they're putting him in there with the big guys. Washington, Brazil, he's fighting these dudes like nothing. There's no complaining or anything. He's getting in there against these big guys without any hesitation. Boxing Block Center. Oh, what's up, man? Me and Boxing Block Center was on Kiwi Box live stream earlier. He says, hope you understand now the difference, a bum fighter and a bum, and Wilder needs to earn my respect. You don't know the abuse I have been getting from his fanboys. Well, one thing I can say about being a YouTube uploader for 8 years, man, is a lot of fanboys visit a lot of people's pages. And me and Boxing Block Center was having a discussion on Kiwi Box live stream. He was saying that he believes that Wilder is dangerous, formidable fighter, but he thinks he's a guy who just beats nothing but bums. And I disagree with that respectfully, because when we break down bums, man, and I know some people, they use that term loosely, and sometimes we're just talking shit, so I get it. But there are some people that really believe everybody he's fought is a bum. And it makes no sense to me, especially like if you're a person that thinks like Dillian Whyte's one of his best wins is Robert Helenius. Helenius is a good fighter. That makes me scratch my head. Why? Because Helenius, who got starched in one of his fights, guess who he got knocked out by? One of the guys who you consider is a bum on Deontay Wilder's resume. So I think guys like Molina, Dubois, Spilka, Washington, they're guys that are either middle of the pack, or they're like Washington was a guy trying to make a name for himself. He stepped up from the prospect level, got himself a title shot because of what's my man's name? What's the dude from Poland that failed the test? Andres Rodriguez, he failed the test, so Washington was able to step in. I don't think those guys are bums, man, because then how can Washington be a bum and then a guy who's 5 wins with 44 losses, he's a bum too? You guys get what I'm saying here? Nah, man, the dude's Now, are these guys all top 5 fighters that he's fought? No. But then we know what happened with Ortiz and Povetkin and that whole thing, man. So, I don't know, man. You know, like I always say, man, I'm not here to change nobody's mind. If you think a guy's a bum, then, hey, that is what it is. But there ain't no hard feelings, though, Boxing Block Center. We just got difference of opinion. And like I said on that live stream, man, I normally don't get a chance to have a verbal back and forth with somebody that comes in my comment sections. So it was cool to me and you got on there and had a little mini debate. Let me see here. The Moto Channel UK says, Mr. Boxing, which UK prospects do you rate? Dubois, Gorman, Webb. I definitely want to see those guys mix it up. I know Gorman and Webb were supposed to fight. Then that fight fell through. I like Joe Joyce. Khan Sheehan, I know he kind of went over there to the UK. I think he's still with the Fury camp. I'm not sure. But I know he was with Virgil Hunter at one point in time. But there's a few guys that I like, man. Fanon International. All right, bro. Peace out, man. Says got to work in the morning. Yeah. I got to catch up on these comments, y'all. Let me see. I think some of the fighters should take dancing classes like Loma's dad made him do. Ryan or Ross. Yeah, you know, just natural movements, man. And I think dancing to beats, even if you don't take a dancing class, I know Israel Gono's with Dancing with the Stars. I've seen him take those type of classes. Even in other sports, I've seen Stephon Marbury when he was in the NBA. He actually took a dance class. I believe it was ballet to help with his footwork. You know, just natural movements. You know, just Roy Jones is another guy who gets in the ring and kind of moves to the rhythm of the beat. I know when he was getting ready for his fight with John Ruiz, I remember that documentary they had on ESPN, and Roy Jones was dancing to a old Run DMC song, like literally throwing punches to the beat in the lyrics. Danny Tanner, Kuzman really dealt to Joe Joyce and the amateurs. Mansour is a big step up for top 410 fight. Yeah, he is. And yes, Kuzman, and that's one thing with those with that amateur class, man, with Joyce and Philippe Herkovic and Yoka, and what's the other guy's name? Damn, I forgot to do his name, man. The other guy that's like 6'9", he just turned pro. Ivan Deichko. Yeah, with this new class of guys, man, I just don't see how they all do, but I think they a lot of talent out there, man. A lot of talent. Big Mo says, I seen it. Hey, Rock Wilder. Yeah, I seen that sparring footage, too. Looked like they diced that up, man. It was just showing all David Hayes' strong points. Didn't show one time him getting clipped. Nick Webb, Nathan Gorman, Dubois. Pete Long. What's up, Pete Long? He says the heavyweight division is weak. It took 40-year-old to add legitimacy. I won't say it's weak. I just think it's in this transition. You know, we just had the Klitschko brothers had a stronghold on the division for years, and now we're just transferring over to this new wave of guys. And I think this wave right here is more talented than that wave we had the last 7 to 10 years. Although some guys are still hanging around, Povetkin, but I'm saying like the newer prospects and the newer guys that are working their way up. I think this level of guys is a little bit more talented, bigger and stronger than those guys. That last wave of guys. Even like here in America, like the Seth Mitchells. Even when Seth Mitchell's at his best, I don't think he'll be a top 10 American heavyweight right now. Yeah, Boxing Block Center. Yeah, man, we can definitely. And that's what I've been doing, man. I've been trying to catch everybody's hangouts. The last week, I haven't done a video. I just been more trying to catch hangouts. Today, I was on a few of them. I was on Kiwi Box, and I was on another one. Damn, I didn't forget. Short memory, man. I didn't forget who else I was on today. But I've been trying to catch everybody's hangouts, man. Dan the Man, I've been on his recently. Charlie Brown Boxing, Blood Boxing. I was on 78 Sports live hangout with all them guys, man. LDBC after the Wilder versus Stavern fight. So I've been trying to make my rounds, man. Guys who I listen to, try to get up in their hangouts and just have some interaction with other boxing fans instead of just doing, reading an article and then doing a video on it. That gets kind of tiresome, man. Triple H 1200. What's up, bro? He says Wilder held down Washington's left arm. In theory, that's an illegal move. Well, he threw the jab and he knocked his left hand down. I mean, I wouldn't say it was illegal. Now I know you're not supposed to hold and everything, but it wasn't like a blatant, like, damn, look how he's holding his arm down. It was so quick and subtle, man. You know what I mean? And then the right hand came right behind it. Washington, if Gerald was trying to complain about it, he didn't have enough time because it was so fast. Unity Boxing. Yeah, bro, we started I've been live for 46 minutes. Damn, don't seem like that long. V4AR says, Mr. Boxing, do you believe in the saying that a bad, tall fighter can always beat a great short fighter? No, I don't believe in that. Because let's look at Joe Frazier. Although Ali beat him twice, Frazier won the first fight. So that doesn't always apply. But it does seem like it happens most of the time. But I really have to sit down and really do the math on that, man. But nah, that doesn't always work. Then look at Holyfield and Bo. I mean, Holyfield was able to get a victory, although Bo won the trilogy. So I won't say it happens all the time. St. Cruisin says, get back on the heavy bag and do some breakdowns again. Yeah, bro, I'm gonna get back on that, man. Definitely gonna get back on that. On my first channel, that's pretty much all the videos that I was doing was heavy bag work, breaking down fights on the heavy bag. Just gives me a better way to show you guys what I'm talking about sometimes. Boxing Realist says fans should be careful with saying fighters are bums and considering a division is weak, in the sense that giving any fighter credit will be hard for consistency. Yeah, man. If everybody's a bum, that's why I just sit back and I know that sometimes fans are just talking shit, so I understand that. But then there are some dudes who really stand behind this whole he's a bum, he's a bum, he ain't fought nobody because he's a bum. It's like, well, damn, is anybody decent? I mean, so then if he's a bum, if one of your favorite fighters beats him, then are we even going to give him credit? Because according to you, the guy was a bum. Unity Boxing says, I had high hopes for Issue. Hopefully he comes back stronger. Yeah, man, I totally agree. Totally agree. He should have nothing to hold his head down about that loss to Brazil, man. Big Band TV, what's up, man? Says, look at Tyson, a short fighter during his run versus anybody. Exactly. And he was fighting guys like Tony Tucker and Bone Crusher Smith. These guys were 6'4", 6'5", and he was in there just annihilating them, man. That's why I say it's just styles, man. Really styles. Then, Frazier was able to beat Ali convincingly in the first fight, in my opinion. Then he went in there with somebody who's pretty much, although it's a different style, but somebody that's pretty much the same height, like a George Foreman, and he got destroyed. Trying to scroll back, see if I see any questions, man. This live stream was cool, though, man. I think I may do more live streams than actual videos. Sometimes that shit just gets so boring, man. So-and-so said this today. So-and-so called out this person today. So-and-so responded to the call out. So-and-so responded to that call out. It just gets like, who gives a damn? Make the fucking fight, man. Tank Davis. I want the kid to be more focused. I don't like seeing dudes lose their belts on the scales. But I think he's a talented young fighter, man. You know? I think he's a talented young fighter. What did you think of the fight between Cabello and Chisora? Oh, man. Now, I got the prediction wrong. Okay, so let me give props to Cabello for winning the fight. But I also did say in that video, Cabello has the type of style that can beat Chisora, and I barely favor Chisora. And that's a jab, movement, combinations that will always give a guy like Chisora problems. And I think Chisora was kind of overlooking him. But Cabello, man, that was a good performance. The kid, well, I'm calling him a kid, but he's a lot younger than me. But he turned pro in 2011, and he didn't have much of an amateur background. He's literally learning on the job. And that's one thing about this era of guys. And I know this happened before, back in the days. Guys would just pick up boxing late. And that's another thing. Before I answer the question about Cabello, I'll see guys say he lost to a guy that works at the laundromat, or a guy that's taxi driver. Back in the day, everybody had jobs. You know what I'm saying? So when people say this stuff, it's like, dude, mostly all these guys have jobs. If you're not a part of that 1%, you're gonna have a damn job. You know, people say, oh, Wilder had troubles with a teacher in Molina. Yeah, it's his job. You know what I mean? All these guys have to pay their bills in other ways, man. But yeah, with Cabello, though, I just want to see more of him. And he's a guy that's learning on the job, man. So I thought that was an impressive win for Cabello. St. Cruzan says, I thought Chisora beat Whyte. That was a close one. So I can see that one going either way. Red Fox says, I think they bring up the job to say that they lost to a part-time guys who don't invest full-time. Yeah, I know. And like I said, it's a lot of shit talking, but it's like, man, if people really understood, they would know that back in the day, man, and even nowadays to some degree, all these guys have jobs, man. But they could still go to the gym. Shit, Brian Jennings was a guy that was working a job. I just seen his name in the comments right here. But he was another guy that was working a job until he, took it to where he was getting paid enough to where he can focus full time. But that's no excuse when you're here fighting, man. I think if you can go put in 4 or 5 hours in the gym, 3 or 4 hours at the gym, putting in good work, not there just communicating and shooting the shit, you should be able to work a job too. You know what I mean? If, like I said, if you're not in that 1% that's making millions or hundreds of thousands or 80,000 a fight or something like that to live comfortably, man. But a lot of these guys aren't making that type of money. Yep, Marquez, another guy who was an accountant. Diaz, was that Juan Diaz, who was actually going to school during his career? I think he went to the University of Houston. Doing live productions. It says, nah, videos is cool with me, bro. Short and sweet. Yeah. But I'm just saying sometimes, though, man, you got to edit the video. And although I don't have to sit in my computer because now I have apps to go on my phone. I don't know. And I kind of been on my fuck boxing thing, too, for like the last week. I've been keeping up on the news here and there, man, but my boxing fix have been watching fights from the 80s and 70s and 90s, man. Like, whenever I disappear, man, I'm still watching boxing, but I'm watching more of the old school fights, man, to pass my time. The other day I watched Norton versus Holmes for like the 300th time in my life. But yeah, I like watching old school fights, man. Muhammad Ajmal says, you regularly say Joshua Wilder are 1 and 2 in the division. Do you have a top 10 ranking list? Off the top of my head, man, see, I don't want to do off the top. I had to sit down and really look at it and break it down. But yeah, I say AJ and Wilder are top 2 right now. That's just my opinion. And I just want to see them fight. But yeah, I can sit down and probably do a top 10. I told myself that I said this in the video, I wasn't doing another top 10 until these guys start fighting each other. Not fights like Miller versus Whyte and Helenius versus Whyte. Those are cool fights, but I'm talking about Miller versus Whyte. You know what I mean? Those type of fights. Brazil versus Ruiz Jr. Then I can give a better feel to make a top 10. That's how I feel too, man. Let me know when y'all fight, and then I'll come make the videos. But and I'm not knocking nobody that keeps up on the day-to-day going back and forth, because I do. I got hundreds of videos like that, but just sometimes it can get kind of just boring, man. Like, when y'all gonna fight, man? Big Band TV hit me with a hard-ass question. Who do you got, Loma or Rigo? Can't remember. Man, that's like the clash of like as Emmanuel Stewart used to say, gang leaders. Now, I don't mean that, I'm not saying they're leader of gangs, but just guys that have that mindset of just leaders of a dojo. You know what I mean? It's like the karate movie when they're the last two masters at the end. I thought I heard somebody say that too, but that's what it reminds me of, like master class type of boxers, man. It's 50-50, so I'm not going to bullshit you and just pick somebody for the hell of it, man. I think that's just a tough-ass fight right there. Loma with his speed, now he's a little bit bigger, and he has speed, his agility, just the way he moves. Is that going to be good enough for a guy like Rigo, who's a masterclass counterpuncher? And he's the type of counterpuncher, man, where it ain't just countering you. He can counter you with some power, because you don't see these damn shots coming. They're so fast and crisp. It's almost like that Mayweather effect, to the point where you're getting countered so fast and hard, you're just like, man, fuck it. Like he literally makes you put your offense on the shelf. And Roy Jones was like that too back in his day, in his prime, where you might go out there and throw some shots, and then boom, boom, he hits you with a 3-4 punch combination so fast, so quick, so clean. You just like, damn. He will make guys put their offense on the shelf. Grandmaster, shouts out to Doom. Yes, like Grandmaster, man. 2 Grandmasters in there. What old school fights would you suggest us to watch? Anything that has the names in there of Holmes, Ali, Foreman. I like watching Ezra Charles fights. Anything Joe Louis, anything Marciano. Like the Marciano La Starza fights. Even the Lewis and Marciano. Even the Walcott and Marciano. I mean, just any of those type of fights, man. Holmes and Carl the Truth Williams, that was a fight that I just watched recently too. Witherspoon, I mean, any of those type of guys, man. Ron Lau, Lau Foreman was one I watched recently. Any of those types of matchups. Tua versus Abeabuche, the Holyfield Bowl trilogy. I mean, all those types of fights, man. Is Parker like Joe Louis? As far as throwing short punches, I think he resembles him. I know people say, what? He's Joe. No, I'm not saying he's Joe Louis, but I'm saying he kind of resembles Louis in those short punches. The way he throws his short punches and combinations and some of his movements kind of resembles him, but I wouldn't say he's, Joe Louis. Tayshawn Dawn. Man, I haven't seen that dude in a while, man. The big 7-footer. Last I heard, he was with Golden Boy. Haven't seen him in a while, man. Damn, I did not expect to be on this long, man. But I can talk boxing for hours, though, man. I thought, because I had nothing to talk about, really, y'all. I just pressed live and just went off top of the head, man. But I knew some people would probably show up and probably ask some questions. And Joe Louis, another thing about him, man, is he was able to generate a lot of power from a short distance with his punches. He didn't have to wind up. I mean, sometimes he'll generate so much power. When you're watching it on film, it's like, did that really hurt that other guy? Like, he didn't really wind up like that. It's just short, hard, powerful punches, man. Do you think some of these heavyweights have their skill cap? What do you mean by that, bro? What? I'm not understanding that. Yeah, that's Rainy Young Boss. That's the Tayshawn Dunn guy. M. Reynolds, what's up, man? But yeah, that's the Tayshawn Dunn guy, the big 7-footer who's with Golden Boy. I haven't seen him in a while. M. Reynolds says, you think that juke move Wilder did on Stavern would work on Joshua? Well, if Joshua's getting up after being knocked down like that, yeah, because he's going to be so discombobulated and not knowing the hell he is, I think it'll work. But that looked like something Wilder... See, that's Wilder. That just adds his awkwardness. You know what I mean? All that type of shit, man, just it adds to his awkwardness. But I definitely think if he had AJ buzzed and he did that, yeah. Now, just straight away, if he just straight away did it with his hands down like that, I'm not sure if that'll work. Because I think AJ would be not necessarily anticipating him to move like that, but just coming forward with his hands down. Or shit, maybe AJ might throw a punch out there when, you know, Wilder's going to the left. And then once he pull back right, maybe that punch and miss and then Wilder can catch him. I mean, it possibly could, man. See, this is why I want to see the fight, y'all. Because all these questions y'all asking me, man, and want my opinion about, this is the reason. See here. Somebody said Tayshawn Dong is trying out for the WWE. I hope he speaks good English, or maybe they could have him come down with a good manager. But I don't know, man. My kids watch WWE. It's just not the same, man. Just and I was watching during the Golden Era, the Attitude Era, all that shit, man. And it just seems like the personalities just aren't the same as they used to be. Guys aren't as strong as they were back in the day on the mic. I mean, you had a guy that had the body shape of Dusty Rhodes who was selling out arenas every night because he knew how to work in the ring and he had a good mouthpiece, man. He knew how to sell the fight. He knew how to talk. So, but then if you didn't know how to talk all that great, you had good caddies. You had Bobby the Brain Heenan and Jim Cornette, Paul Ellering and guys like that. What was the other guy back in the day? He used to always say Pencil Neck Geek. What was that dude's name, man? I forget. But you had guys like that bring you to the ring. And now, just when I watch it with my kids, it's like, man, this is fucking corny, man. Tua versus Abebuche fight, most brutal fight with no one close to the KO. Yeah, that right there was a damn slugfest, y'all. Some of the PG era was good for me. Yeah. At least somebody said at least Mike Tyson got a good KO in the WWE. Somebody says I got Miller beating Whyte. They both slap punch a lot, but it's just think Miller can outlast him. Yeah, that's one thing about Miller, man. I know a lot of people, they don't think he looked all that great this past weekend, but he definitely has a gas tank on him, man, for a guy that big. I mean, just period. And then to add on the fact that he weighs, between 280 and 300 on fight night, pretty impressive, man, for him to carry a work weight like that. Even in the Gerald Washington fight, it was like, man, out of both of these guys, you would just look at their physiques and you would think that Miller would be the first guy to slow down and not Washington. But it was Washington the one who was slowing down in that fight. Big the Foot says there was a variation of characters when it was WWF, or maybe we just grew up. Yeah, we grew up too. Obviously, I'm not the young 11-year-old, back in the 80s and all that. But, yeah, we grew up too. But still, though, man, it just seemed like guys were better on the mic. And I know right now they have, like, a team of writers who literally write the promos. That's crazy, yo. Writing your promo just off the top, genuine how you feel at that moment. You know what I mean? But when you got guys writing the promos, man, it's like, Jesus Christ, we're writing fucking everything now? Even the promos? I hate, somebody says, V4AR says, I hate to say this, but I've always been afraid to see Mike Tyson in the ring against Abeabuche, Foreman, Bo, Tua. What do you think, Mr. Boxer? Tua, that would have been a great fight with the left hooks. I think, man, I seen Tua put some dudes to sleep. Ruiz and Michael Moore, I seen him put them dudes straight to sleep. I think Mike had more to his game, though, than Tua. Although Tua was tough, I think I'll favor Mike in that fight. I think he has quicker hands. I think his punches will land first. And I just think he was a better fighter than Tua, but Tua was tough, man. Bo, that would have been, again, on the inside. Bo was to go to the inside. I'm not sure he'll match Mike on the inside, but just him being a big, tall, imposing type of guy, maybe he'll been able to push Mike back. If he would have worked some shit off his jab, and then try to go inside on Mike, 7th, 8th, 9th round, I don't know. But Mike, people just think you put a jab and some size on Mike and he'll lose automatically. No, that's not true. Tucker, Bone Crusher Smith, even after he lost to James Buster Douglas, Douglas just fought perfect that night. I mean, he just fought a perfect fight, man. But even the Ruddock fights, people really don't talk about those fights. Ruddock at that time, especially going into the first fight, Ruddock was looked at as one of the top heavyweights, one of the most dangerous guys around. If you guys watch that telecast, they're talking about how Ruddock has one of the best, if not the best, left hand in the game because he had the smash punch and he had a good jab. So I wouldn't necessarily say just because Bo was bigger, he would have beat Mike. But stylistically, I think it would have been an entertaining fight. Then who's the other guy? Abeabuche, same thing. He seemed very durable. And just in his short amount of fights, man, Abeabuche looked really good. If you guys go back and watch an old fight Abeabuche had with a guy named, I think his name was Greg Pickram. It's on YouTube. And that guy was showing, he made Abeabuche had to scratch for that win, man. The Foreman thing, I've always favored Big George over Mike. Even the 90s version, I've got into so many debates about this, man, and I'm a huge Tyson fan. But Big George, man, just that whole style of Mike Tyson coming forward, bobbing and weaving, I just see Big George throwing hooks, uppercuts, and taking everything that Tyson had. Now, some people may point out to the fact that George was hurt back in the 70s against guys like Lau and stuff like that, but I just think Tyson's style was made perfectly for Big George, especially looking at a 90s version of Mike Tyson after, Buster Douglas kind of shattered that invincibility type of aura that he had. I'll favor Big George, man. Blood Boxing says he'll favor Bo. Yeah, it's been a good fight. I'll probably favor Mike, though. But like I said, Bo was very versatile, man. He can mix it up on the inside. And he had a damn good jab. And I hate, the other day, man, I was sitting back listening to Deontay Wilder. And I know how Wilder meant it. I know he wasn't trying to diss Riddick. But then I started listening to other people here on YouTube and just in the comment sections, looking at Bo as the guy that threw the title in the garbage. And I hate that he's looked at like that because he was one of the most talented big guys I've seen, man. As far as using his jab, combination puncher, dude had motherfucking heart. He had heart, man. Whenever you getting punched in the nuts repeatedly and still want to get up and throw them hands, man, against Galata like that. Although I thought Galata did have his number, but especially that second fight, man, Riddick Bowe went out there and fought his ass off. The fights with Holyfield, when he won the title, the competition wasn't all that great, Hyde and guys like that, but just that his name is just a lot of fans, a lot of the newer fans, they're just, that's the guy that threw the title in the garbage. And it's like, yeah, but there's a lot more than that to Riddick Bowe than just the guy that threw the title in the garbage. Let me see here. Yes, I agree. St. Cruz and Bowe is very, very underrated, man. Triple H 1200 says George will lift Tyson off his feet like he did Frazier. Have a damn good chance, man. Big George, one of my favorites, yo. So is Mike Tyson. You guys who've been to my channel, you guys know that I've always talked about all those guys. Hey, In Reynolds, I just watched that the other night. I watched that the other night, man, when that Harlem Heat promo with I believe Sensational Sherry was their caddy, and and Booker T slipped up and said, "Nigga." Who was it that he wanted to fight? Was it who did he want? Damn, who was it they were going to wrestle, man? Yeah, I definitely seen that, man. That shit was funny when he slipped up and said nigga. Because that's how much into his promo he was, man. That's how much it was just off the, off the top of the head, man. Somebody says, V4AR says, Mr. Boxing, I feel that Bruce Seldon was wasted talent. He had a great physique and very fast hands, but a soft chin. The Atlantic Express, Bruce Seldon. Yeah, man, Seldon. And again, he's one of them guys, man, where it's just he'll have a bad moment in his career, and that's what you'll remember most. And it was that Tyson fight, man. That shit was so bad. I was like, man, is he really going to go out like this? And I'm not saying Mike was in on it. I just think Seldon said, and even going into the fight, he seemed very confident. You guys go watch those news conferences. Seldon seemed confident to the point I'm like, damn it. And Seldon can box a little bit. Don't get fooled by his physique. He had a good jab. He could box. He could move. Seldon was a good fighter, man. But he went in there against Mike and just laid down, man. Like, damn. Got up. It just looked so fake, man. Why doesn't Joe Frazier get any credit? Hey, Blood, I agree. A very good jab. Big the Foot says, why doesn't Joe Frazier get any credit? I don't really hear anybody not giving him credit, but if it's from today's fans, they'll probably say something like, he's too small. You know what I mean? They love using that somebody's too small as if Frazier fought, in 1903 or something. But I don't know why people don't give him enough credit, man. Oh, yeah, he has 4 losses. I can't forget about that. If you lose, people will discredit you. I hate that we're in this era, man, of guys of this whole, hold your undefeated record down. Because to me, if you're in there fighting the guys you're supposed to, you're going to come out with 1 or 2 losses. Now, if you're really a badass, you might not come out with no losses. You know what I mean? But there'll only be 1 person that'll do that. It won't be 5 people undefeated all claiming they're the best. And that's another reason why I want to see some of these fights. How the hell we going to have 6, 7 undefeated dudes and everybody saying they're the best? That don't make no damn sense. I agree, Red Fox. He lost to 2 of the best fighters of his era. There are some fights that he didn't get to fight in that I would have loved to see. Him and Holmes would have been good in the late 70s. Him and Norton would have been good in the late 70s. Although when I read Joe Frazier's autobiography, according to him, he says he used to rough Norton up in sparring all the time. Man, Ali fought everybody in them damn 70s, man. That's what you call conquering a decade right there. And people want to say, when they try to bring Klitschko to me, I respect the Klitschkos on their brotherhood, on them being blood brothers, being able to conquer the division like that. But when you really look at it, the top 2 heavyweights of their era didn't fight because they were brothers. Not because they were brothers, but I'm just saying it just kind of leaves that taste like, damn, y'all did dominate, but the top 2 guys didn't fight. You guys get what I'm saying? But I definitely give them props for their history. Just being brothers, to be able to do it. But it does kind of leave that the top 2 guys didn't fight. That's the only knock I got on the as far as what they accomplished during their run, the Klitschko brothers. Frazier Live would have been a slugfest. Somebody says, how in the hell, hold on, Andra Little says, Mr. Boxing, how in the hell did Povetkin get back in the WBC rankings? Is he back in the rankings now? The last I checked, is he in the WBC, y'all? Maybe I should look that up real quick. Is he back in the WBC? I know he's in the other rankings in the other sanctioning bodies. And you know what, man, about Povetkin and Ortiz and guys like that? Like I've said on a couple people's hangouts, man, I want to see I still want to see them dudes get knocked off in the ring. I don't want them to go away because I don't want, 5 or 6 years from now, whoever it is that's going to be the top guy, I want them to also beat Povetkin and Ortiz, or I like to see Povetkin and Ortiz getting some type of eliminator, and if they lose, then hey, they lose their spots. But I'd rather see them guys lose in the ring because then there'll be no stone unturned. It won't be, this guy, whether it's Wilder or AJ or Parker, whoever it is, they beat such and such, but they didn't beat Povetkin and Ortiz. You know what I mean? Now I want them dudes to get knocked off in the ring. As much as I know a lot of fans think they're cheaters and so on and so forth, and that's cool. But me, I want to see them dudes get knocked off in the ring, so then there will be no discrepancy about anything. And those guys, when they're not having faulty drug tests, I think those guys are top 5, 6 heavyweights in the world. And I think that'll make whoever fight them more badass. Like, you know what? The hell with your drug testing issues. I'm going to still fight you and lay your ass out. You guys get what I'm saying? Like, to me, that's what's... Now, I know it's just speculation, but Ali had that type of mindset. You guys remember that show Ali was on over in the UK? And I don't know how serious he was, but he seemed serious talking about it. When this dude was literally saying he wants to fight Foreman and Frazier on the same night and really broke it down. He didn't just say, like, I want to fight him the same night. He, like, broke it down. Like, okay, I'll fight him the first 6 rounds. He just see, I'm sitting there like, that's what I love about Ali, man. You know what I mean? And it'd be cool if somebody had that mindset. You know what I mean? Like, you know what? The hell with that, man. Not that I'm saying those guys should get in there on something. I'm not saying that. But just somebody come out and say, I don't care about none of that. I'm still going to whoop your ass. And that's what Wilder was saying with Ortiz, saying that he still wanted to fight him. Then the WBC, they're the ones that decided, was a no-go. Because I damn sure didn't hear Ali talk about letting something marinate and, let's just hold on and let's just wait and see. Nah, give me the top dudes. Ain't nobody about to walk around saying they're better than me. That's the mindset that I love, man. Now, I know nowadays it's more, guys are more business savvy and let's make the right business moves and all that. But that's why I loved Ali, man, because he wanted to fight whoever it was. He got his ass whooped. Frazier beat him, busted his jaw up. Although Frazier went to the hospital too, but Ali wanted his get back. He didn't say, okay, Joe's better and I'm just going by my way. No, it humbled him, but then he wanted his get back, and he got his get back 2 times. I know I just went on an Ali rant right there, but that's one of many reasons is why I liked Ali as a fighter, man. He always wanted to prove that he was the best all the time. Even when he shouldn't have been in the ring towards the end, when you can tell Ali wasn't the same. For some of you guys, man, I was having a discussion with somebody, and they were trying to talk to me about the Holmes and Ali fight as if, like, that was prime Ali. And I recommend some of you guys go and watch the ESPN 30 for 30 called Muhammad and Larry and look at Ali, man. The dude couldn't even skip rope. I mean, literally. He'll get like 1 good hop in, mess up. 2, 3 good hops in on the ropes, mess up. It was just like, I almost came to tears, man. I was sitting there like, oh my God. His speech was slurred, and Ali was still trying to prove he the best, trying to fight Larry Holmes, knowing damn well he shouldn't have been near fighting Larry Holmes. Now, some people may say, oh, it's for the money. Yeah, he could have made some money just off his name fighting anybody. But what did Ali want? He wanted Larry Holmes at that stage of his career. It was sad, man. I was just sitting there like, oh my goodness, this man can't even skip rope the right way. Why the hell would they make this fight? Faraz just sent me the WBC rankings. Dillian Whyte, number 1. 2, Brazil. 3, Ortiz. 4, Ruiz. 5, Marius Wack. Tony Bellew at 6. 7, Dubois. See, like Dubois at 7 right now. Oh, man. Some of these rankings just make no sense, man. Marius Wack, that's going to change because he just lost to Miller. Rainy Young Boss says, Mr. Boxing, who got you start watching boxing, and what was the fight that made you love the sport? My father and uncles. Ticket TV, what's the deal, man? What's the deal? What got me watching boxing was my father. I've done this plenty of times, so some of my longtime listeners, you guys already heard this story a billion times, and I've done a video showing my VHS tapes. But my father, man, he got me a 1989 tape, Ali's Greatest Hits. It was a HBO produced VHS tape. That Spinks and Tyson lead up to that fight, I remember that shit clear as day. I remember during the Celtics was playing, I think the Pistons or some shit. It was somebody, and I remember they had the interview with Tyson and Spinks. And Tyson was so confident. You can see how Spinks was just, the way he was answering questions, man, like he just did not want to get in there with Mike. But I mean, it's just little bits and pieces I remember. I remember seeing the Sports Illustrated with Hagler on the front when he had blood streaming down his face. He was the fucking boogeyman to me as a kid. Marvin Hagler, man, when I heard people fighting Hagler, I was like, damn, he might go in there and kill that person. You know what I mean? Marvin Hagler, I remember images of him. Ring Magazine, KO Digest, like all those magazines, Tuesday Night Fights, watching fights before Big East basketball came on, if you guys remember that. Just all that type of shit, man. Tuesday Night Fights, when ESPN had Monday, some people remember Friday night fights on ESPN. I remember the Monday night fights and the Wednesday night fights. Remember when Max Kellerman was way back, when he was rapping and shit back in the day? I remember Max Kellerman from back in those days. But my father got me into it, and his VHS tapes, man. Holmes and Cooney was a fight I remember watching numerous times as a kid. Holmes, Weaver, Larry Holmes, Ali, Tyson, those are guys that I watched their fights over and over and over. And then listening to my father and my uncles shit talk all the time. Like I remember the Tyson Spinks shit talking between them. My grandfather was going with Spinks. I remember this shit clear as day, man. I remember that. He was going with Spinks, broke down why he thought Spinks would beat him. And I was a youngster just listening, you know what I mean? So I kind of listen, don't really know what they're talking about, but I can just see him talking shit, hear him talking shit. But yeah, man, the memory of Hagler with that bloody face on Sports Illustrated, that bringing back memories, and just my father and my uncles, man. Kind of long-winded right there, but I can go on and on about that. That's why, like, right now, my sons, they'll grow up with these same stories. Whether they watch boxing when they're older or not, they're going to hear, and shit, now it's different, right? Because my dad didn't have a YouTube page, you know what I mean? So they hear me when I'm doing videos in the car with them, or they're with me, or in the same room as me talking about Joshua Wilder and all these guys. Or the other day, or not the other day, but like last year, me and my son went to the gym. And when we went there, they were showing they had the channel on ESPN, and they were showing another documentary I want to recommend to you guys. ESPN did Evander Holyfield chasing Tyson. And we're sitting there getting ready to check in at the gym, and my son goes, look, Dad, it's Evander Holyfield. And my son is 10 years old, you know what I mean? So he'll grow up with these same type of stories that I had, man. That's why I had one guy challenge me on that. You only started watching, I'm not going to say the dude's name, man, but you just started watching boxing in 2000. It's like, whatever, man. Like, whatever you say, man. Whatever you say. BC, what's the deal, man? Mike 104 says, do your relatives still watch boxing? Yeah, they do. Yes, they do. Ticket TV says, Holyfield gained my biggest respect when he beat Tyson. Man, that's another one. You know, I grew up hating Evander Holyfield, man. I fucking hated that dude. Man, I was so much in my Tyson fanboy days, man. If we had YouTube then, y'all probably like, man, this dude is a Tyson fanboy. But everything at that time made me hate Holyfield, man. How he would bring up God at the end of every fight. And I used to be so mad, like, motherfucker, you wasn't saying that when you got beat. You know what I mean? Like, I was one of them dudes. But when he fought Mike, and Mike bit his ear, because the first time I was still a huge Tyson fan. I was like, fuck that. Mike had an off night. Holyfield was headbutting. You know, I was saying everything. But when that second time, man, and I knew that Holyfield went undisputed at cruiserweight. I knew that he had won the heavyweight title against Doug. I knew all that, but I was such a Tyson fanboy, I didn't care. You know what I mean? But when he got bit against Mike, and Holyfield said, if you guys go watch that fight again, Holyfield kind of praying to himself, but he's still just ready to go. He's waiting for Mills Lane to say fight. And I was like, damn, this dude got bit and he still want to fight? Then when Mike bit him again, Holyfield jumped up and down screaming. He still wanted to fight. And I said, you know, I mean, how can I hate on somebody like that? I feel like an idiot hating on this guy. And I became a huge Holyfield fan, man. Huge Holyfield fan. Although I recognized his accomplishments before that, I was just such a Tyson fan. Damn, how long have I been on here? Hour 25, damn. Hey, y'all. I appreciate y'all tuning in, man. My first live stream. I'll be doing more of these, man. Now that on my phone I got the app where I can just go live. At first I thought I needed my computer and all this other shit, but my phone I just pressed live and it just popped up. But definitely appreciate y'all checking in with me, man. Be back for the next. So I'm not sure when I'll do it, but since it's easy for me to access on my phone, I'll be doing more of these on my phone. And then I'm going to learn how to send out the link to get some of you guys in, man, and we can mix it up. Max Ryder was good, bro. But y'all definitely send out the link, and we can chop it up like that. Big the Foot just sub the channel. I appreciate that, man. What's the app? It's just a regular YouTube app, Red Fox. Just a regular shit you can get at the Google Play Store. Be easy. What's good, man? Check out, he says, check out Rummy's Corner. Hey, I like Rummy's Corner. I love his documentary style breakdown of the 90s. I'm sub to him, man. For those of you that are not subscribed to Rummy's Corner, go check him out, man. Excellent videos. Shout out to everybody, man. I'm going to be doing more of these. Doing Live Production says, don't quit your original videos, bro. No, I'm not going to quit them, but I think I'll be doing more live stream. But, yeah, man. Hit the like button before I get up out of here, man. Give me a Deontay Wilder straight right hand, Anthony Joshua uppercut to that like button. Beat the hell out that like button. Stomp that like button. I'm out, though, y'all. Y'all be easy, man.